Namaskaram from from Lakshmi Ayurveda. Dr. Gaurang, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dr. Gaurang? Yes, wonderful, great. Sorry for our technical issues here in Australia, in Perth. It's actually the very first time I'm doing a live stream, so it took us a little bit of time to figure it out. So, Dr. Gaurang, first of all, a big thank you to you for inviting me to present on your platform. And it has been nearly 2 years ago since we've met at the Australasian Association of Ayurveda at their international conference in Melbourne. And thereafter you invited myself and Kelsey, who is here as well. Kelsey, say hello.
Hello.
Invited us to Ahmedabad, which was truly a highlight last year, presenting at your conference. And today I would like to start saying a thank you to my teachers, especially Dr. Akash Kimbavi, Dr. Prasanna Aital, and also Dr. Gayatri Bhatt. And a very special thank you to Guruji Dr. L. Mahadevan from the Sri Sarada Hospital in the Tamil Nadu. Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So thank you. So we're starting the session today, and the topic of this presentation is lifestyle disease and its management through Ayurveda, with looking at Swasthavrittam, Shamana, Shodhana and Rasayana Chikitsa. The treatment needs to look at physical, emotional and spiritual well-being. A lifestyle disease is something really close to my heart because so many people suffering with a lifestyle disease, and here in Australia 10 causes of death, 8 are lifestyle related, and out of top 20, 14 are lifestyle related. So the number is shocking. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity, so many addiction problems, alcohol and drug related disease. The list is endless, but obviously it's not always lifestyle related. Sometimes we may be more prone for a certain disease depending on our race, age, gender, hereditary or bija dosha. Also for diabetes, we know there are 2 types of diabetes. There is the Dhatuk-Shaijanya Madhumeha, which is more linked to diabetes type 1. It's also said it's due to bija dosha genetically. But I very much feel that Ayurveda has the knowledge and wisdom to prevent and treat lifestyle disease. But we really have to understand the principles and follow it. Obviously it's about eating at the right time, kala bhojana, eating the right quantity, the right good quality of food. But to have good quality of food, we need to really look at the principles of Swasthavrittam, having a good land, fresh air, clean water, good sunlight, proper disposal of our waste products. So it's really multi-facets involved in treating lifestyle disease. We really need to have a healthy universe. And how come so that in nowadays nobody really has succeeded in treating lifestyle disease or preventing it? And I thought of the definition of Ayu, looking at Sharira, Indriya, Sattva, Masam Yoga. Yoga is the union, so Ayu is the union of Atma, Manas, Indriya and the Sharira. So if we only look at the Sharira, at the physical body, we can't treat lifestyle disease. And in the classics, for example, in the Swasthavrittam, chapter 23, it is mentioned about Apatarpana Vyadis, and it is mentioned about Prameha, it is mentioned about Kusta skin disorders, often due to Viruddha Ahara, incompatible food combination, Shvara, but also Ama, Clybia, obesity, edema. So many diseases are mentioned. And really looking at the treatment, we need to look at treating Ayus as a whole. So a Vyadi, what is a Vyadi according to Ayurveda? So a Vyadi is something that produces pain to the body, or Patanjali says it's a painful sensation. A Vyadi gives rise or pain or discomfort to a living Purusha. And with those lifestyle disease, it is really, we have to start early, as often we are more prone for lifestyle disease at the age of 45, for example, for cardiovascular disease in male, and female at the age of 55, we are more prone for a lifestyle disease. In Australia, the leading cause of death is number 1, it's coronary heart disease, followed by Alzheimer's and dementia, and then lung cancer. If we look at all cancers together in Australia, cancer would be the number 1 leading cause of illness. And every 3 hours somebody is dying of a cardiovascular disease. Every 5 minutes somebody is getting diagnosed with diabetes. So that number is really shocking, and I really believe that Ayurveda could be helping in preventing and bringing down those numbers. But before we talk about disease, we really need to look what is health according to Ayurveda. And I'm very much in love with the definition of Sushruta. He says, Sama Dosha, Sama Agnisha, Sama Dhatu, Malakriyaha. Prasana Atma Indriya Manaha, Swastha Iti Vidyati. And this is such a deep, very holistic, complete definition of health. Sushruta says, first of all, Sama Dosha. There is no disease without a dosha vaishamya. We have 3 doshas. Vayu, Pittam, Kapha, Stheti, Traya, Dosha, Samasata, Pratyekam, Detrida, Vriddhi, Kshaya, Samya, Vibedata. So the doshas can be in an increased state or in a decreased state. If the dosha is in balance, there is no disease. Further, Sushruta says, Sama Agnisha. We need to have proper functioning Agni. Our Chata Agni, Dhatu Agni, as well as the Bhut Agni. The Agni needs to digest the food. We will not get the Sava, the essence, the Ahara Rasa of our Ahara to nourish the Sapta Dhatus. Ahara Vasa is the mother of all Dhatus, Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Meda, Ashti, Macha, Shukra, to ultimately to get the essence of Ojas. Ojas is life, Ojas is immunity. And there are 2 types of Ojas, or there are 2. One is located in the heart, which is the Para Ojas, 8 drops, and then we have half an Anjali of Ojas circulating through our Sharira. This already shows that the heart is Chaitana of our, the Sthana of Chaitana, the seat of consciousness. The Marma is a Hridaya. The Marma is seat of Ojas. So this really shows there are so many heart diseases. We have to protect the heart from any stressors. And it is mentioned, Pariharya Visheshana Manaso Dukkha Hetava. We really have to protect the heart from stressors. Then further, Sushruta says, Malakriya. We need to have proper elimination of our malas. We have 3 malas, Sveda, Mutra, Purisha. we need to see the malas needs to be eliminated in lifestyle disease such as renal failure, for example. There is no elimination of mudra. Or in prameha, there is atipravriti, excess urination. So if there is an imbalance in malas, we will not be in a healthy state. Then Sushruta says, Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha Swasta iti Videyati. So alongside this, we need to have a blissful soul, senses, and a content mind. And this is health according to Ayurveda. So if we treat lifestyle disease, we really need to look at all those factors. So in lifestyle disease, it's about we need to eliminate any causative factors, which is called Nidana Parivarjana. This is actually number one, and I will repeat this over and over again because it is so important. And Ayurveda mentioned 3 causative factors for disease, which it is asatmya indriyartha samyoga, number 1, which is the improper contact of our sensory organs due to ati yoga, hina yoga, or mithya yoga. Overuse, wrong utilization, or no utilization. So especially nowadays, so much screen time, so definitely many webinars, many Zoom meetings that will strain our eyes, for example. But then number 1, prajna parada, which is the improper actions. Improper actions can be with our body, mind, and speech. Kaya, vak, and mana. And this is responsible for lifestyle disease. We do things we shouldn't do. But why are we doing things we shouldn't do? It's because of Di, Driti, and Smriti Vibramsha, improper controlling power, intellect, and memory. So if we want to treat lifestyle disease successfully, we need to look at Di, Driti, and Smriti. Then number 1 causative factors for disease, it is parinama. And parinama, it is the effect of time. We can't run away. It's all one day it's the time of birth, and another time it's the time of death. We can't avoid that cycle. But we want to prevent premature aging. So this is very important, and also again to what are the goals of Ayu. It's about Dharma, Artha, Karma, and Moksha. So ideally, the longer our lifespan, the more time we have to ultimately to fulfill the goals of Ayu. So then hearing about Di, Driti, and Smriti, it is so important that we include manas in the treatment. The manas is most important. Charaka says that the mind is the Shat Indriya, our 6th sense. And the mind is the controller of our senses, the mind is the controller of many our physical function, and the mind influences our decision making. So it is so important to have a healthy mind. Only a healthy mind can connect to Atma. And Atma is free of disease. Atma is simply an observer of our misery, of sukha or dukkha. Then also mind, body, very much interlinked. Also saying due to a medical condition, it can affect the mind. Many lifestyle diseases such as Jvara or Hirtroga or in Madhumeha, it is mentioned secondary to this, we can get mental health issues such as depression. And also the Mulasthana of Mana is the Hridaya. So very important. So if we treat, we definitely have to look at the mind. So, but what happens to a disease, or how does it really that Vyadi originate? So we know now about the 3 causative factors. So we do have a Nidana. And the Nidana, we don't do Nidana Parivarjana. It comes again and again, and it provokes the doshas. As we know, there's no disease without a dosha Vaishamya. So the doshas gets vitiated. This causes an Agni Mandya. A weak digestive fire, this can produce ama. that ama can move into the dhatus. This is called dosha, dusha, samochana. And this is a very, very important part in the disease, in the samprapti, because this is where we will get our disease, when dosha, dusha, samochana is happening. And then this causes an improper dhatu agni. Our dhatus are improperly formed. It might cause a shrotoroda, and a disease is produced. So the three components to produce a Vyadi, we need to have a Nidana, dosha vitiation, and dushya. But it really depends. It's not that we get immediately an aggravation, a disease, depending on our immunity, Vyadi kshamatva, because the doshas constantly change according to the time, the season, the day. But there is the concept of vikara, vigata, abhava, and vikara, vigata, abhava. So maybe some people are more prone to develop the disease quicker or later. And why are we prone for a certain disease? It might be that kavai gunya, or genetically. So if there is dhatu vriddhi in medas, we might be more prone for obesity. If there's dhatu kshaya in asti, there can be osteoporosis. If there's dhatu shaitilya, looseness in the dhatus, this is seen in diabetes. And also, obviously, the ama is a big factor in disease, producing a disease. There can be different types of ama. They have doshic characteristics. For example, more kapha based, it will be more a mand agni, which is more like a disease like arteriosclerosis or prameha. But there can be also a tiksh agni, which is more pitta based, which is more linked to autoimmune disorders. Or a vish agni, which is more vata based, which is more seen in degenerative problems, such as sandhi gata vata. But what happens on the mind? So this is now on that physical level to produce that Vyadi, the samprapti on the psychological level. So we have three doshas of the mind. Sattva, rajas, tamas, cheti, traya, prokta, maha, guna. So we need to promote the sattva of our patient. There's too much tamas and there can be too much rajas, especially with addiction problems. So very important, body-mind, totally interlinked, and we need to treat sattvas or promoting sattva in for our patients. Then before we start any treatment, we need to do proper rogi and roga pariksha. The rogi pariksha is the examination of our patient. And this can be done in different ways. It is mentioned about the Asta Vida Pariksha or also the Dasha Pariksha, the tenfold examination, looking at Nadi, Mutra, Mala, Jiva, the Sparsha, Drik, Akriti, the general appearance, but also assessing Prakriti, assessing Vikriti, Brahmana, measurements, maybe taking a BMI or sending somebody for bone density test, and also assessing Satmya, the Sattva Bala, Manu Bala is very important, assessing about Pravara, Madhyama or Avara Sattva. In lifestyle disease, also important to assess the Ahara Shakti and the Vyama Shakti, obviously looking at the digestive function and also looking at the exercise and the physical strength performing exercising. As well as looking at the age of the patient. So this is all done in the Rogi Pariksha, but then we also have to assess the disease. We have to do Roga Pariksha. Roga is another synonym for a Vyadi, so there are many synonyms for a disease. So for Roga Pariksha, Ayurveda teaches about the Nidana Panchakarma, which is a framework for diagnosis in Ayurveda. And the Nidana Panchaka talks about Nidana, Purva Rupa, Rupa, Upashaya, Anupashaya, and the Samprapti. And here I would like to highlight how important it is to assessing Purva Rupas. I do think that is another key in preventing lifestyle disease, because this is not something Western medicine does or any other systems of healing. So if the body is more the patient, if we are more self-aware, and if we know early if something is wrong, we actually can prevent it goes to that dosha, dusha, samochana stage. So Purva Rupa, very important. And again, it's all about a healthy mind, because in the Upanishad it said, if the mind is elsewhere, we do not see, we do not hear. So again, very important, the mind, we need to be mindful to even diagnose or know and recognize those Purva Rupas. But then also looking at the Samprapti. This is something very important, and I'm very thankful to my Kaya Chikitsa teacher, Dr. Aitel. He always stressed on the Samprapti Gatakas. And this is really something, it helps a bit of giving an understanding of the structure of the disease. Because in lifestyle disease, they often come not just a single disease, there are multiple diseases, maybe obesity, high blood pressure, maybe diabetes. So it's difficult to say it's Hridroga, it's Daulia, it is Prameha. So it's sometimes really good to use the Samprapti Gatakas before diagnosing and before starting the Chikitsa, looking at the doshas, the dhatus, the malas, the shrotas, the agni, the udbhavasthana, the site of origin, very important, because Ayurveda would like to eliminate from the root cause. We need to know the sanchavasthana, how the disease is spreading, and the adhisthana, the site of localization. So this is really important, and again to my favorite definition of health by Sushruta, looking at Sama Dosha, Sama Agnisha, Sama Dhatu and so forth. We need to now look at this the Roga Pariksha, which dosha is involved. So for example in Prameha and in many lifestyle diseases, often it's the Kapha Dosha involved. High cholesterol, obesity, diabetes. So it's the Kapha, it's the main dosha, for example, in the Prameha Samprapti. Often Pitta Anubandhi as well could be also then obstructing the gati of Vata. But we know, saying Bahu Drava Sleshma Dosha Visesha. So there's a Bahu Drava, excess liquidity of Sleshma. So this will be the main dosha we have to treat, Kapha. We need to look at all the dhatus. And often in lifestyle disease, it is the Dhatu Agni, which has been Dhatu Agni Mandya. So it is affecting often many dhatus. In Prameha, it is very difficult to treat because all liquid dhatus have been affected, and there are Shatilya, they are loose, those dhatus, including Lasika and Vasa, the Upadhatu of Mamsa. Then we need to look at the malas, which mala is affected in our disease. For example, in diabetes again, there is an atipravriti, an excess urination of mutra, excess elimination of mutra. Prachuram varam vamehati, an excess increased quantity and of urine, and the urine looks like honey, madhu varnam. So it looks like honey because ojas is eliminated. And we heard in our definition of health how important it is to protect ojas. There's a principle of dosha bala and dhatu bala. We always have to increase or look out for the dosha bala and dhatu bala. Then in our Samprapti Gatakas, we look at all the shrotas involved. We need to look at their mulasthanas, which Agni, and then obviously the site of origin is often the Amashaya. So the Samprapti Gatakas can give us an idea about the disease before we start our treatment. So now we heard now about the Nidana, three main causative factors of disease, mainly Prajna Parada, due to D, Driti and Smriti Vibramsha. So how are we going from illness back to wellness? Which Chikitsa, what should we be doing? And now we should look at the Trivida Chikitsa by Charaka. He mentioned about Sattvavajaya Chikitsa, Daivyaprashaya Chikitsa and Yuktivyaprashaya Chikitsa. Very important. We know the union of what is Ayu, so we need to also look at Atma and Mana, the Indriyas and Sharira. So Sattvavajaya Chikitsa would be with counseling, with yoga, education, assurance, and helping the patient to make the right decision. This is called sankalpa, or reframing of ideas, vicharya. So very important, not just dosha pradyanika chikitsa, we need to do sattva vajaya chikitsa, and then also ideally daivya prashaya chikitsa to help the spirituality with maybe mantras, homas, sacred herbs, offerings. And then we go to yukti prashaya chikitsa, which is the dosha pradyanika chikitsa. First of all, before we start our chikitsa, I would like to say once more, prevention is better than cure. Swastasya swastya rakshanam, aturasya vikara prashananam. This should always be in our mind. We can treat disease, but we should try to prevent. Again, linking back, we should be self-aware and hopefully diagnose purva rupas early before we get to the dosha, dusha, samochana stage. But then in the prevention, it is about Swasthavrittam, and I can't stress enough on Swasthavrittam. We need to apply that knowledge about dinacharya, a daily routine, about ritucharya, a seasonal regime, raticharya, a night regime, doing yoga, patya, apatya, mahara, exercise, and this is such a knowledge, I think, for all mankind. If we apply the principles of Swasthavrittam, I think we could significantly reduce the number of lifestyle disease. And then there is Shamana, and there is also Shodhana Chikitsa, which we will be looking into. But again, Nidana Parivarjana, and we're aiming on prevention of disease. Then there might be the question, so when are we doing Shamana Chikitsa and when are we doing Shodhana Chikitsa? Shamana Chikitsa is more involved with the doshas, and Shodhana Chikitsa is more involved with the malas, eliminating morbid doshas. So there is Alpa Dosha Langana, Madhyama Dosha Shamana, and Bahu Dosha Shodhana. And Shavaka mentioned in the Sutrasthana, he mentioned about Bahu Dosha Lakshanas. And if we imagining lifestyle disease, and very recently I had a client, he was only about the age of 50. He was a school teacher, he was suffering from diabetes, he had fatty liver, he was overweight, he had high cholesterol, arthritis, sleep apnea, and high blood pressure, multiple disease. So often it is in lifestyle disease, there is Bahu Dosha Avasta, and Shodhana acts on the root side, so there will be no further Dosha Sanshaya. Obviously, we have to consider many things before undergoing Shodhana Chikitsa, such as the age of the patient, and very important, the Sattva Bala, the Sharira Bala. So we need to take many things into consideration before we do Shodhana Chikitsa, but we need to uproot the disease. So if we look at a plant, we take leaves off, the plant will still grow, and the same with the disease. Unless we take the roots out, we cannot cure the disease. So Shodhana Chikitsa, and we all know the Panchakarmas, the 5 karmas, the Vamana, Virechana, Vasti, Nasya, and Rakta Mokshana. They all have them very important in lifestyle disease, more due to apatarpana, overnutrition. I would more Vamana, best for Kapha, and Virechana karma, which is best for the Pitta dosha. So mostly we will be looking at this now. But how can Panchakarma treat and prevent lifestyle disease? Panchakarma is acting against the different levels of the Samprapti Vigata. A physician has to break the Samprapti. Breaking the Samprapti, this is nothing but Chikitsa. Dosha, Dusha, Samochana, Vigatana, Meva, Chikitsa. Chikitsa is what makes Vishada, Dosha, Dhatu and Mala become Sama. So this is ideally if the patient is strong enough and other factors to be considered, Shodhana should be done. We can break the Samprapti because then we can give equilibrium to the doshas, and we know there's no disease without a dosha vaishamya. we clearing the shrotas, Shroto Shodhana. This will then optimize for Rasayana treatment, because we need to do the ultimate treatment is Rasayana, but we can't do Rasayana before cleaning the body. If you're imagining a dirty cloth and we want to color it, first we need to wash it. And similar, we do it with Shodhana Chikitsa, we cleansing the body. We eliminating mala and morbid doshas. We correcting the Agni, and this will improve the Dhatu Agni to get Ojas par excellence. And all alongside this, Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, Varna, Prasada. So many things are done with Shodhana Chikitsa, and this is really in lifestyle disease, this will be very important. Any Shodhana Chikitsa is practiced in 3 stages. There's the Purva Karma, there's the Pradhana Karma, and there's the Pashat Karma. So if we look now more at the Vamana and Virachana Chikitsa, so we need to do Purva Karma first. But now we know the Kapha is the main dosha, often in the Prameha Samprapti and often in lifestyle disease. So we need to know the gunas. We need to know the guna of Kapha. Snikta, Shita, Guru, Manda, Slakshna, Mirt, Sna, Stira, Kapha. So what do we need to do? We will not be able to go for Snehapana. Snehapana has similar gunas. We can't go for Snehapana before first doing one of the Shat Upakrama. And we need to treat with opposite gunas. So we will not be doing Brahmana, we will not be doing Stambhana, we will not be doing Snehana, we will be doing Rukshana. Rukshana is Ushna, Rukshana is Stira, Ruksha is Ruksha, and is Katina. So these are the gunas of Rukshana. So we need to do Rukshana alongside Dipana Pachana. This is a crucial stage, so very important. Rukshana can be practiced with Udvartanam, for example. Before Snehapana, 3 days of Udvartanam. Udvartanam can be done with Triphaladichona, Eladichona, Kotamchukadichona. And Triphala is best for Kapha and Meda Dhatu. Udvartanam increases the circulation. It's also really good responding to diabetic neuropathy. So very important, we're starting with Rukshana treatment alongside some Aushadis for Dipana Pachana, improving digestive function and burning the ama. Then we undergoing for Snehapana. But here again with lifestyle disease, this is very tricky because we know Kapha. Kapha has the same guna like Meda. And now we want to do Snehapana. There is already dosha utklesha often in Prameha. There is already, it's already kleda pradhan vyadi. So we have to be cautious not to do ati sneha. So normally we practice until there is sneha samyak lakshana. So we give acha snehapana. We can, for example, danvantarim kritam. But very important, only when we have koshta snikta lakshanas, when there is vata anulomana, when there is oily stool, snikta vacha, then we can finish our Snehapana. And often this is no more than 3 days. So it is very difficult or very important to proper assess in a Kleda Pradhan Vyadi. So is Kushta as well, not to do any Ati Sneha. Then after Snehana there is Svedana. What does Svedana do? Svedana helps to move the doshas from the Shaka to the Koshta to be eliminated either with Vamana or Virachana. Our doshas, they're already in stage of dosha utklesha, let's say in Prameha. So we need to also, and the dhatus are Shaitilya, loose dhatus. So we have to be cautious doing Svedana, not excessively, because this could further weaken the dhatus. So we only want to do after Abhyanga, a snana, a hot bath, and then our patient would be prepared for the Pradhana Karma. So as the Pradhana Karma, we will be looking at Vamana, because Vamana is best for Kapha. Vamana can eliminate all 5 kaphas, and it's good for bronchial asthma, urticaria, depression, hypothyroidism. Tatra dosha haranam urdvam bhagam vamana samyakam. So it's the process where we eliminate the morbid material through the upward route. This is best done before kapha kala, before 7 a.m. Obviously, there are many contraindications and it has to be practiced with caution. But Vamana definitely has a significant in lifestyle disease because it is acting on the Rasa Vaha, Anavaha and on our Meda Vaha Shrotas. Then another karma important in lifestyle disease is Virechana. But here obviously to highlight, if somebody is needed to undergo Vamana and Virechana, we have to have a certain amount of gap between, and we have to start with the Purva Karma again. This is why by Panchakarma there is no fast track. This takes a little bit of time. So Virechana is another wonderful karma, best for the Pitta. Tatra dosha haranam adobhagam Virechana. So we eliminate the morbid dosha through the downward tract. Best for Pitta, but this is a wonderful karma. We often practice this here also in Australia. It's fairly safe and easily done. Even if there's kapha in the lower part of the Amashaya, we can still do Virechana. Any doshas lodged in the Pitta sthana, the Pitta sthana is between Hridaya and Basti, we can do Virechana. Virechana is great in prameha, diabetes, arthritis, excessive weight, but also in acidity. Important in practicing the Virechana, it's best done in Kapha Jirna Kala, so before 10 a.m. And we need to be sure what type of Virechana are we doing. Are we doing Rukshana or Snigdha Virechana? If we think of lifestyle disease and we just looked at, if we look at Kushta, Prameha, Staulia, where we have a lot of Kleda and Meda Dhatus, we definitely need to do Ruksha Virechana. So there are many factors we need to consider. Then after we've done our Pradhana Karma, the main karma, we need to do the Pashat Karma, the post-operative procedure. And this is so crucial, it is so important. So every stage of the Panchakarma is important because the Agni will be reduced. Vamana is disturbing Samana Vayu and Kledaka Kapha. Virechana is disturbing Samana Vayu, Pachaka Pitta and Apana Vayu. So we need to get that Agni correct, and this takes at least 7 to 10 days. And in the Siddhasthana, Charaka mentioned about the Samsarjana Karma, Manda, Peya, Vilepi, so there's a specific regime to follow. And this is crucial. We could really get it wrong here if we do improper Samsarjana Karma. Again, this could be again a causative factor for a disease. Ama could be produced, and it could actually, the Agni could become Vish Agni or Mand Agni. So important. And then after the Pashat Karma, it's not finished yet, so but we're looking quickly what we've done so far. So we set Nidana Parivarchana. Very important in lifestyle disease. We need to increase Sattva Guna. Then we need to do Rogi Pariksha, we need to do the Roga Pariksha. Then we need to know the Samprapti of the disease. We know it's Bahu Dosha Avasta. Our Bala is good of the patient, so we undergoing Shodhana. Then we heard we need to do Rukshana, we're doing Deepana, we do Pachana, we do Snehana, we do Svedana, we do Shodhana, Shamana, and now we are going to Rasayana Chikitsa. How amazing is Ayurveda? There are so many factors we need to address, and Rasayana is really the ultimate treatment in lifestyle disease. And how I said before, it cannot be properly done without proper body purification. We need to clean the cloth before coloring. This we need to do within our Sharira. Rasayana, a whole branch of Ayurveda, is Rasayana. So it deals with the anti-aging, but also with the modern system of immunology, metabolism, and endocrinology. The Ahara Rasa is the mother of all dhatus. So we need to nourish with the sara of our ahara all our dhatus. When we have a vriddhi or a kshaya in our rasa dhatus, this will reflect on our other dhatus. So it's very important we nourish rasa. And Rasayana should be done or practiced from a very early age up to an old age. If we think of lifestyle disease, I think it's number 2 or number 3 in Australia, it's Alzheimer's and dementia. So in the Samhitas it is mentioned certain Rasayanas for a certain decade. So we should be doing, for example, Media Rasayana should be starting already in our 30s. So Rasayana, the ultimate treatment, it increases vitality, produces vitality of the body, and it maintains vitality. So many Rasayanas such as Brahmi, Shatavari, Ashwagandha, Gotukola, so many are mentioned. Then also we need to do Shamana Chikitsa, which we will be doing with more different aushadis. Drifala, for example, is important, but also Gugulu is important in lifestyle disease. Brahmi, Tulsi, Guduchi, in emotional, mental health issues. Many wonderful formulations such as Sarasvata Vishtam, but also Ashwagandha Vishtam, Brahmivati, Manometram. So many wonderful formulations are available also here in Australia. But we actually have started making many of our own medicines here at the clinic. Especially we had been restricted with import during the COVID-19 crisis, which was a great opportunity. So we're making actually many things here at the clinic. But then, slowly coming to the conclusion, it is also so important about the concept of patya, apatya, aharam. And again, the food is the nidana of the disease, and food is the chikitsa of the disease. So it is really important. There's a Sanskrit word, kaya, the body. The body is the product of the food we eat. Food, for example, in lifestyle disease is barley, takra, madhu, but also horse gram. So many patya aharas are mentioned, and really amazing in the classics. Each disease has often mentioned about the patya apatya aharam. And it is important, and Charaka mentioned in the Vimanasthana so many, the 8 factors determining the utility of food, or also looking at eating warm food, anxious food, only eating when you are hungry, the right quantity, the kala bhojana, eating at the right time. So Deo ahara sambhava, the food equals life, so very important, especially prameha and staulia has a direct link to apatya sevana. So slowly coming to the conclusion, looking what Ayurveda, we're looking at the treatment of Swasthavrittam, Nidana Parivarchana, looking at Sattva Vachaya Chikitsa, Davya Pashaya Chikitsa, and Yukti Vyapashaya Chikitsa. It is really a holistic approach, and I very much believe that Ayurveda can prevent lifestyle disease, it can treat lifestyle disease, and here especially abroad it should be part of, and hopefully to have it more accessible in Australia and other countries. Integration and collaboration would be wonderful, such with the World Health Organization, United Nations. And I think this is really here to conclude. I thank you for listening, and sorry for the technical issues in the beginning. And I would like to say a big thank you again to Dr. Gaurang, and don't forget to break the samprapti, treat with love and affection, and enter the heart of your patients. Thank you very much, Dr. Gaurang. Thank you everyone for watching, and if anyone has any questions, let me know. I'm on my mobile phone. I had a bit of technical issues. Let me see. if any questions, you are welcome. But yes, Ayurveda, it's a wonderful system of healing, and especially in lifestyle disease, looking at the Nidana Parivarchana, looking at treating manas, and treating with Sattva Vachaya Chikitsa, Davya Pashaya, and Yukti Vyapashaya Chikitsa. So thank you very much for joining today, and Namaskaram.